Old School Bodybuilding Clothing Company and Species Nutrition present RX Muscle's Olympia weekend coverage. For those that lose their mind if they haven't eaten any protein in 3.5 hours. OSBBC.com for the hardest training athletes.
I'm Dave Palumbo, founder of Species Nutrition. From my earliest bodybuilding days, I believed in only putting the best in my body. And that lives on in the Species Nutrition line of products. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. Welcome back to RX Muscle's Iron Road to the Olympia 2020, brought to you by Species Nutrition and Old School Bodybuilding Clothing. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm here to do the Classic Physique Olympia predictions. Oh boy, is this a tough one. This might be one of the toughest battles of the entire weekend. The reason being is that Breon Ansley and Chris Bumstead are two guys that have both won this Olympia title. Bumstead knocked off Ansley last year. Ansley was the reigning champ. Ansley coming back now for revenge. So both of these guys have won this title, and that just means that whoever's the better man on the day of the show is going to win. Now, these guys have physiques that are completely different than each other's, and that means that as a judge, you have to sit there and look at what you like, which means that some judges are just going to naturally like Bumstead's physique, and some Ansley's. Now, the advantage that Chris has coming into this show, he has two advantages. One is that he's the reigning champ. So he's going to have to come in a little off, I think, for Breon to knock him off. The second thing that he's got going for him, that he's been healthy the entire year and that he's bringing a better look. And he's never been able to do that, okay? He's had 2 years where he's barely made it to the stage. And he still somehow managed to win last year. So I think this is a huge advantage for Chris. Number one, he's coming in better, well-rested. Probably this COVID thing for him worked out for the best because he can't go out anywhere. He's basically secluded to his house. All he can do is train and eat and sleep. And that's what he needs because his body responds to that. And he's the reigning champ. Now, Breon has made some amazing improvements to his physique. I've seen him, and the guy is, there's nothing to even criticize. He doesn't have any weaknesses to his body. The advantage Chris has got is that he's taller. He's got more of that, what we call classic look. He hits a great vacuum pose. He's got a really ridiculously small waist with huge broad shoulders. He harkens back to the Arnold era. And I think that the judges just seem to gravitate towards that look. When I first saw him in his first Olympia, I thought he was the winner. And Breon took him out because he was missing body parts. And I think Chris still is not complete the way Breon is. However, he has a lot of wow to his physique when he poses, and he knows how to present himself. So I think that we're going to see probably, this is my guess, that Chris Bumstead's going to win, and Breon's going to be a very, very close second. Could be a one-point decision. I think we're going to see Breon go to the men's open class after that, or 212 class, I should say, and compete with those guys, because I think that he's going to find that he has nowhere to go anymore, and there's no more challenges. He's already won the Olympia. He's holding himself back as far as gains go, and I know he wants to get bigger, and I know he can get bigger. With Chris Cormier in his corner, advising him, they have very similar physiques. I think that Breon could win pro shows easily in the open division. So that's the way I see it. I think Bumstead first, Breon second, and then of course, who's going to be in that third slot? I think Logan Franklin really established himself as the guy to beat and the newest, dark horse in this lineup that people now are taking note of. Holy mackerel, this guy's got a lot of muscle. He's got great symmetry. He came from men's physique, so he's got the nice taper. He's got a great abdominal line. He is made for this class, no doubt. It took him a couple of years to come into his own in this class. I think he will own that third position. And I think he might even be in the three-man call-out with the other two guys. I think he's going to hold his own really well there. I think those guys are a little more seasoned than he is, but I think that he will be a guy that people say, wow, this could be the future of this division. And you know what? he deserved it. He's probably one of the hardest working guys in the division. Now, finishing the 4th position, I have probably Breon Jones. You know, this guy is so good. I think he has so much untapped potential that people are going to lose their mind when they see this guy on stage. If he comes in shape and dry, he will make a lot of these top guys look bad in certain poses. He's unconventional in the Kai Green sense, the way he presents himself, but it's creative, and I like that. And I like the fact that he can hit the awkward and unusual poses, because in the era of Arnold and the classic era we call bodybuilding, that's what they did. They hit unusual poses. It seems like everyone does the same poses nowadays. He doesn't, and I think that that's going to make him stick out, and I think that's going to keep him in that top 3 or 4 slot. I'm going to go 4th with him here because I think Logan might be just too much for him at this point, but this guy will also be a future danger in this class. Look for Breon Jones in that 4th position, and I think he's going to beat out a very good Alex Cabernero, who we know has really dominated every show he's done in Classic Physique, because his body was made for Classic Physique. I just don't think he has enough firepower to defeat Breon Jones or Logan Franklin. But that can go either way. You know, if one of these guys comes in a little off, Cabernero definitely can slip in there. So this class is so densely loaded with talent from top to bottom that it's almost impossible to make a good top 5, guess. We still have Terrence Ruffin, I didn't mention, Wesley Vissers, who's coming up, Danny Unin, who's always in the best shape, Jonathan Hambrook, who's the youngest guy in the lineup, but very dangerous. I think he should move up to the Open. And then DeAndre Campbell also, who's seriously a guy you do not want to mess with when he's in his best shape of his life. So Classic Physique, I'm really looking forward to watching that, because I know it's going to be a crazy battle. But I think Chris Bumstead will emerge. So I'm going to go with him number 1. Number 2, Breon Ansley. Number 3, Logan Franklin. Breon Jones in 4th. Alex Cabernero in 5th. That's my predictions. I'm Dave Palumbo with RX Muscles Iron Road to the Olympia 2020. See you next time.